Thank you for joining. Good evening, everyone. So today the PDC topic is dealing with criticism. And let me start with this. So being criticized. So I'm sure we have gone through this situation at least once in our lifespan. And when we think about the word criticism, we always know that something negative is coming our way. And in any case, when we have to deal with it in a positive way, it is something very the most difficult, but it is very important life skill that we have to, get, because we may have to deal with it in the future as well. Also, whether we are faced with criticism at home, or whether while we are with friends, or while we are at work, it's difficult to accept in the first in the initial stages, or in the when you begin with it, and it all depends on how we take it. Okay, so whether we take it positively or we take it negatively. So when we take it in a positive way, we tend to improve. We push ourselves to improve. But when we take it in a negative way, we feel sad, we lose our confidence, we get stressed about what is being said to us, and sometimes we feel angry also. There are actually two types of criticism. One is the constructive criticism, and one is the destructive criticism. So both of them are delivered in different ways. But I would say sometimes, in the same way as well, because it could come in the form of anger or somebody shouting at us. And both of them are like they challenge a particular idea, maybe our character and the ability. That means maybe someone is not agreeing to us, or they are highlighting a specific behavior of ours which is not right, or something that we can't do, or we can't get it done. Okay, so these are some of the situations. But in either case, we will have to learn to recognize the difference between the two, like what is constructive criticism and what is a destructive criticism. So in this slide, let us understand the subtle differences between the two. So when it comes to the destructive criticism, so someone doesn't really worry about the emotions of the other person. That means when they are saying certain things, they are not really empathetic about the other person, and they will say things on purpose. They will, pick up on small things which may not be even really relevant, and it may hurt us, and they will show a lot of anger or frustration to put the other person down. That means either to suppress, or we could also call it like, an animal nature or animalistic approach. So while in the constructive criticism, though they would be pointing our mistakes, right, or flaws, then but it will show a correct path. They will always show a correct path or a way how we could improve. And when these mistakes are pointed out, we may feel bad, as I said before, we may feel bad what is being said to us. However, we will be okay after some time, and we will ponder on the solution, or what is being guided to us. And we will start working on those improvements which is needed from our side. When we talk about some people, I mean, they are not born like that, I would say, but they are critical in nature. That means they change over a time depending on what they see. So so as I said before, they will address certain kind of they will look at certain behavior of ours, or they will look at what kind of mistakes we are doing, and they will be critical about it. And they don't really realize they are hurting the other person, so they won't really care about what the other person is feeling. That means they will not get into other people's shoes. And we may not like also what they're saying, but in this kind of situation, I think the best way is we should never respond in the same way what the other person is doing to us, because it will it if we do so, if we responded to them in the same way that person is doing, then there is no difference between us, right? So we will only demean our image in front of others. So the best way is to stay calm, which is most difficult. I know the best way is to stay calm and treat the other person like any other person, like somebody who is having a difficult time to understand the real situation. So in a way, we should show ourselves that we are a stronger person than the other. So then the situation will change. And sometimes it may so happen that we may not be able to control ourselves, that we may not be able to take too much of rubbish or garbage from the other person. In that situation, the best way is to just walk away from that person. But while we are at work, we can't do that. So maybe we are in a meeting, and we are in this situation where somebody is very critical to us, and we may feel that what is being said is not right, but rather than countering that person right away, I think the best way is to just excuse oneself and just leave the room, and take some time to calm down. I think that is the most important thing. So the best way is to take some deep breaths, which will help us to calm down, and then we go back to where we left off with. So so even when the negative remarks hurt, we shouldn't allow those negative remarks to destroy our self confidence. Now this is a very difficult aspect, because when we are in that particular situation, our mind doesn't think in that direction, and we will fail to uh, you know push ourselves to think in a way where we don't want to get influenced by the other person. So that's why I really like this quote, which I saw somewhere, that one should become the master of one's mind rather than let one's mind master him. So we it's a tricky kind of a situation, that we are in a situation where we are dealing with somebody who is very critical with us. We are not in a position to hear him or her anymore, but we have to push our mind not to think or be like that person, or respond in a way where it will make things worse. So this is something which we can do, and to as a practice, because it takes a lot of time to control ourselves, or self control, to develop this kind of a self control. So what can we take uh, the positives, like how can we take the positives of this criticism? So in many cases, as I said, like when we are criticized, uh, like we understood the difference between what is a constructive criticism and what is a destructive criticism. So when it is a constructive criticism and we need to take the positive out of those constructive criticism, uh, we can see for what kind of solution or what kind of guidance we are getting through it, though it may come to us in a way where we may not like it, or it is something where somebody is pointing our mistakes. And one thing we have to accept, that nobody is perfect, and we all tend to make mistakes. So I think the first thing is to accept that thing at a personal level. So and whenever we make mistakes, we always get a lot of opportunities to learn from them and improve on them. So we should not consider these mistakes when we are criticized that, I'm done, I'm a failure, I can't go any further. So here we will need to really analyze ourselves, what the criticism is and what can we learn from it. So we could go back to the same person after some time and discuss about what was being said to us, and what are the steps that I'm thinking, what I would want to improve from what is being said to me, or what the constructive criticism is told to me. And then the right agreement, or what we could have come to a consensus, what steps we could take so that it benefits both the parties. So this is what we need to, or approach we should take. So when our behavior or some action is being criticized, sometimes it is a reflection of what the other person sees, at that point in time. So since we as an individual, we are different people, we have our own disciplines, we have our own principles. Certain things what someone likes to do, the other person may not like those things to do. So we have to actually, I think, at one point in time, accept that, and but sometimes some unacceptable behavior shouldn't be accepted. So we should always try to see or think from the other person's point of view. And whenever we are criticized, and we feel really bad about certain things, if we don't have the courage to go back to the same person and talk about it, and come to a consensus, maybe the best way is to go to a friend to get a very honest opinion when we are in doubt. So what will happen is, but even go to a friend who will give us a genuine kind of a view, rather than just maybe cross criticizing again once again. So we have to go to the right person whom we can get a honest opinion, and then we could resolve this. So this is how criticism could be addressed. So so this was a short presentation, or a learning, what actually even I learned at a personal level, which I wanted to share with all of you all. This is it. But before we actually go into the like something where you all want to share a few things about the criticism, or ask any questions, like I want to share my own personal experience over here, which is most related to this, and that's what I learned from this dealing with criticism. So while I was having, like, I have a teenage son. So what happens is, when we are at when we were at maybe even when we were at that age, when we were teenagers, we wouldn't really listen to our parents, and our parents would say, okay, when you become parents, you will really come to know what it is all about. So I actually experienced that in the recent few months, and I was, rather than on the receiving side, I was actually on the other side, where I used to criticize or point mistakes, or highlight a few things which my son wasn't doing. And sometimes I used to be as bad as what it was described in the destructive criticism. And I really felt that, at a point, that I'm doing something really wrong. I mean, it's not really working out the way I'm doing it. And I had to get out of this, or I had to change the situation. So I was looking out for few things. So I went through some parenting articles and some videos which I was going through, and there were a lot of points, and I came across this particular topic where it actually again opened my eyes, like how I should actually handle situations. So rather than being more about a destructive criticism, like giving destructive criticism to my son, maybe I could after highlighting what he was doing wrong, probably I could also help him with what would be the best thing that he could do to avoid certain situations, or the way what he is doing. So this is what actually I learned from this and the other articles also that I was reading. So I thought I will share this with all of you all, and also share my own experience and learning through this topic of personal development class. Yeah, thank you.